99.9% of companies, even after they're successful, do not rocket ship up to $1 billion. And this is where I sound like an old guy. We used to think that a business that went from 1 million of revenue to 8 million of revenue was a fantastic business. You've got someone to pay you $8 million a year for your thing.
Yep.
Now there's this sort of all or nothing expectation, and I think it creates an adverse incentive not to go after basic operational improvement that is boring to some people, but really adds fundamental value to a business.
I totally agree with you. And what I find fascinating too is, in my experience, when you are doing the work to really understand and validate customer value and then build from that into a pricing or a business model, and that may be a question of the segment that Michael lives in is subscription, that Neetha is more of a transactional, a low frequency, low utility buyer. I should have a different business model. Otherwise, I'm going to bypass this. Which is, again, it's back to this core. I'm sure our listeners are tired of me sometimes talking about segmentation all the time, but it feels such an easier way, frankly, to build a business. And I get that, like, in the early stages, to your point, if it's an earlier, like a sub $10 million revenue company, it is sometimes harder, I think, to get this right. But I don't think you have a lot of excuses once you're at like 8, 10 million to not be able to figure out, like, who cares the most and what are they willing to pay for whatever you're doing. Is that fair to say, or am I being too hard?